further ado, I'll welcome our four panelists. So we've got Sam from Deloitte, we've got Emma from KPMG, Amanda from Baker Tilly, and Dylan from BDO. So welcome everyone. To kick us off, let's go around the old virtual room and do some introductions. So Sam, I'll throw you on the bus first. Introduce yourself and a little bit about Deloitte.
Cool, thank you, Taylor, and thanks for having us today. I'm super excited to be here, and hopefully we'll be able to impart some knowledge onto you all, with applications being open. So my name's Sam, and I am the graduate recruiter for Deloitte. So I recruit across all our business units and locations at an intern and a graduate level. And the best part about my job is getting to interact with students like you and hopefully, guide you into a future career at Deloitte. A bit about us at Deloitte is that we are a large, obviously, professional services firm. We have 7 business units and we're across 7 locations with 8 offices.
Thanks, Sam.
No worries.
Dylan, I'll hand it to you next, mate.
Cool, cheers, bro. I'm Dylan and I am at BDO. Graduated about, November 2020, but that feels like it was years ago, but it's only been a couple. So pretty new to the scene, if I'm honest. Haven't done a whole lot of these sort of platforms or stuff like that, but just super excited and really grateful to almost share the room with you guys virtually and be a part of this. But came on board 7 months ago to the day. I was just telling Taylor before, so that's no coincidence. It's just happens to be like that. Joined BDO in August, and we went into lockdown, I think the day after or the day before. So I did the first 4 months all in lockdown of my first full role out of university, which was pretty crazy, but given me some really good perspectives. Obviously being on the other side where a lot of you are right now, not too long ago, but also now being able to see it from the other side and just how crazy it all is around this time of the year. It's been really cool to see both sides of it. But like you'll probably hear, BDO professional services, we're in all the different service lines, but I think the kind of thing is, and as gimmicky as it sounds, is I think we can all agree on the panel, and hopefully the students here obviously taking an interest in accounting as we're there to help people, and the tool we kind of use is accountancy or financial services or advisory, but I think a big part of what we do and in the space in general is help people make informed decisions and advise them on the past, present and the future, but kind of make those relationships with key stakeholders or people that are trying to run their business and have been through the pandemic, which has just been nuts. My parents, they run their own business down here in Hamilton, which is where I'm at the moment. So seeing that firsthand, just how tough that's been, I think it's a really important industry and a place to be. So super excited to speak to you all, and hopefully, you can take something away from this, because it's a cool, pretty cool initiative at the moment.
Cheers, Dylan. Great to have you here, mate. Thanks for joining. Emma, throw it to you next.
Thanks, Taylor. Kia ora, everybody. My name's Emma. I am the grad experience lead at KPMG, and myself and my colleague Linnea sort of make up the team here, and we deal with all the applications coming through, pop you all our students through the process, and then also help the students sort of start at KPMG and kind of here as a bit of a support network through your journey at KPMG. KPMG, if you don't know who we are one of the Big Four professional services firms, and much like Sam at Deloitte, we are currently recruiting for graduate and intern positions across New Zealand, and much like Deloitte as well, we're in 7 locations and have various sort of service lines. At a high level, we sort of have your traditional number crunchers, sort of accountants and auditors and things, but we do also have a consulting and sort of advisory sort of half to KPMG, which is super interesting. And much like Dylan has said, at a high level, we're going into our clients and helping them make better decisions, be more efficient, and just operate at a better level. So yeah, we're really all about helping New Zealanders be as better as they can.
What an intro. Thanks, Emma. Thanks for sharing. Last but not least, Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself and Baker Tilly as well? Oh, you're you're on mute.
Jeez.
There you go.
Hello, there we go. Thanks, Taylor. I'm Amanda, an Associate Director in our Audit Division at Baker Tilly Staples Broadway. Thank you very much for having us join this panel. It's really an amazing opportunity to be able to speak to our future students and our future graduates and interns. Baker Tilly is again another full suite or full professional accounting services firm. We offer the full suite of services: audit, assurance, business advisory, consulting, litigation services, taxation, your usual mix. But really, I take quite heavily involved in the grad recruitment and intern recruitment process, and it's really just an amazing experience to be able to have our, wonderful individuals join us and help them grow and develop their careers at Baker Tilly.
Thanks, Amanda. Again, great to have you on the panel today. And yeah, welcome everyone to the panel. Just to set a bit of context, we've prepared a few questions to ask the panelists, but as I mentioned earlier, don't be shy on that Q&A button, press it, ask some good questions throughout, and yeah, we'll look to answer those throughout, or dedicate a bit of time towards the end to ask your questions too. But Amanda, being at Baker Tilly, you mentioned before 10 years now, I might ask you this first question. What is the most important piece of advice that you'd give to students aspiring to work in the accounting sector?
No, I didn't. Sorry, my computer froze.
Good timing. I'll start again. But yeah, being in the accounting sector for 10 years, being at Baker Tilly 10 years, what advice would you give to students aspiring to be or to work for an organisation within the accounting sector?
Yeah, it has been 10 years. It's a long time in the field. I've definitely enjoyed my career so far, and all of my 10 years have been at Baker Tilly. So I actually started out as a graduate with Baker Tilly Staples Broadway 10 years ago. I think the most important piece of advice that we give to students joining us is really take initiative and be a sponge. When you're coming in, there's a lot of learning that's coming your way. You want to really soak it all in, even when you're on an internship, soak it all in, because it's really going to give you a good step going forward. And taking initiative, I think that's been the most successful trait I've seen in our most successful people, is that they take the initiative to seek out opportunities. No task is too small because they value the learning that comes out of that. So it's, really take initiative and be a sponge.
Can't beat being a sponge. On the sort of opposite spectrum, I might ask you the same question, Dylan, being quite a recent grad joining BDO. What advice would you give as students aspiring to work in the accounting sector?
Yeah, you're right. So 7 months in. The big thing I would kind of emphasize, and it sounds so bloody cliche, but it is so true, and I can happily expand on that, why, is just be yourself. And I know that sounds really easy to say, but I think myself, coming out of university and I guess joining a professional services firm like BDO, and the kind of 3 weeks going from helping out my mum and dad, just being them, to then being like, holy crap, here we go, it's happening. I started to get I think they call it the imposter syndrome, almost, when you're like, is this meant to be where I'm at, or do I kind of stack up to the people that are going to be walking around the business? And you can probably tell I'm a little bit scruffy. Up until about 2 weeks ago, I had a pretty filthy mustache that I was pretty proud of, and have had that almost my whole life. Need a haircut, but I was kind of like, I guess you have that view of university of what you're supposed to look like, what you're supposed to sound like, what everyone else is going to be sounding and looking like in the big firms. And it kind of got me a little bit scared up until the moment that I walked through the door. So that was obviously 4 months later than when I joined. So there was all that kind of built up pressure on myself, and it was all mental, obviously. Walked through the front door and they were kind of just like, oh, there's Dylan, and that was it. And I was going like, oh, no one cares what I look like or I sound like, or that I call everyone bro, or I swear too much sometimes when I'm fluctuated, or but so I think that's my big thing. Sum it up is just be yourself, unapologetically yourself, authentic, and man, you'll fit right in with everyone. It's not as big and scary and old school as I think it must have been, or maybe you have that view of university. I definitely did. Where there's going to be people walking around in suits all day, and it was hi sir, hi ma'am, but it's just people at the end of the day. So I'd say be yourself and you'll go all right.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty underrated advice, to be honest. A lot of people forget that. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate that, mate. Emma, I'll throw to you next. In terms of, from your perspective, advice for students aspiring to work in the accounting sector.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. Gosh, I feel like I keep getting like third or fourth, and I honestly you could just let the others talk, and we'd be good. Some really good advice already. Mine kind of echoes what Dylan was saying, but I think from my perspective as the recruiter, like going through the application process, I think one of my biggest tips would be to do your research on the firm that you're applying for, or multiple firms that you're looking to apply for. And I think being a part of this expo and logging into this call is sort of your first step to that, but really looking into the different companies and trying to find a company that aligns to your values and you sort of resonate with. And then, yeah, to echo Dylan, I would definitely say be yourself throughout the application process. We don't want you to pretend to be anything you're not. We don't want you to sort of say things that you think we want to hear. We do genuinely just want to meet you and who you are and get to know you as a person. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important advice for students coming through to apply for any corporate firm, is just to be yourself. You know, we're not we don't want you to pretend, because then you're going to have to keep that facade up for your whole time at whatever firm you join, and that would be very exhausting. So yeah, please just be yourself.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Emma. Does definitely get quite exhausting. But anyway, over to you, Sam. Is there anything, obviously quite a lot has been shared already, so it might be quite hard, but is there anything you'd like to add to that at all?
Yeah, I agree with Emma. What everyone has said is really kind of relevant and applicable to all. And yeah, just like really mirroring be yourself, bring your true authentic self to work. And yeah, similar to what Dylan said as well. You don't have to change himself or change anything about his appearance to fit in. It's the same here. We welcome people, as I know everyone will kind of mirror from kind of all backgrounds, and we just want everyone to be themselves, because when you're yourself, that's kind of where you're best as well. And that's what we try and foster, like a really inclusive and supportive environment. And yeah, while we all work hard, it's important to have some fun and not take yourself too seriously too.
Good. Thanks, Sam.
Nice.
Some great advice being thrown around there. Thanks, everyone. I'm a recent grad myself. I graduated about two or 3 years ago now, so maybe not so recent anymore, but it still feels like it. One thing I did struggle with was knowing what to show in my application to get through to that next round. Emma, I'll throw this one to you first. So what would, from your perspective, what is KPMG looking for in an application, and what do students need to show to progress through to that next round?
Yeah, great question. I feel like one that the students always want to know. And not to be annoying, but again, be yourself, and don't put anything on your CV or your application that you're not proud of. So, you know, if there's things that you think might be unusual that we might not want to see, but you're proud that you did it, absolutely put it on your CV. I would say personally, I find it really great to see if students have done sort of part-time work, or they've done volunteering, or they've worked at their local church, or any sort of thing that they've done outside of their studies. As much as we can see your degree and we can see your transcript, because we ask for it, we want to get to know you as a person. So getting to see sort of what you do outside of all your studies and what you're passionate about is really important. And we just want to see your passions coming through. That's those are my points. Don't want to steal all the points and give someone else something to say.
I might keep you on, Emma. We had a question from anonymous attendee. Shout out to you. Just on the application front, are there any red flags that, like, you see instant red flag and you basically toss their application to the side?
So for KPMG, we ask, most of our questions are sort of drop-down answers that are fairly straightforward to answer, but we do ask what we would call like a long answer question, which is sort of what you'd bring to KPMG and why we should sort of choose you. And a big red flag for me, it doesn't necessarily mean an automatic no, but it would be a red flag, is we say, we give you a word limit or a sort of a guide, which is normally sort of around 300 words or minimum 200, something like that. If someone writes one sentence, that's super frustrating and quite annoying, because we've kind of given you that guideline, and it kind of potentially shows to us that you haven't read the question fully and you're kind of maybe rushing it. So a tip within there is to make sure that, you do sort of sit down and focus with the application process so that you don't sort of miss something like that. So yeah, that would be my main big red flag. If someone just wrote one sentence or said, I like KPMG or something like that, it's like, that's not, we want to see a little bit, we don't ask for a cover letter. So that's almost in replace of a cover letter. So yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Expand on your answers, team. Thanks, Emma. Appreciate it. Sam, I'll hand the same question to you as well in terms of what Deloitte in particular is looking for in an application and what students need to show to progress through the next round.
Yeah, I'm going to start my sentence off the same. Very similar to Emma. Obviously, we are looking for similar things in candidates. And as we often say when we're on panels together as well, is that we appreciate that students are obviously applying to other places. Do take that time to read through the job description and kind of what makes us different. So if you're applying for Big Four, what's our each own unique individual points and why you're wanting to apply for us. As Emma said, more than one line, be quite clear, because you could just change the word, I like KPMG, I like Deloitte, make it quite clear why you want what firm. And also something that I've noticed is that for our internships, you need to be in your second last year of study, and for grad roles, you are a finalist or have graduated within the last 2 years. Well, that's for us anyway. And I noticed that a few people are applying who are, say, not a grad, but applying for an internship and vice versa. So I do ask for students to take that time to really review the requirements of applying for what role, and same with if they're an accountant, yes, they can apply for our accounting roles, but we're getting a lot of people, say, for example, not apply for those roles who haven't got that background. So I just say, be thorough in your application process. Be sure that you meet the requirements, just the academic requirements, as in study the right degree if it's for a specialized role you're going into. But for a lot of our roles, we do accept applications for students outside of accounting too. So those are kind of the main things, and that really knowing that job description and being able to write about that in your cover letter and having done your research on our website, because none of it's going to go to waste. Because if you do progress to later stages, so video interviews, you've done the research, you know the role, and also with your CV, as Emma said, do put what you're proud of, and do put things that you've done and that you can talk about in your interview as well. So even though you may have not had exactly the work experience that you think you need for the role, we do understand you're coming in from uni. That was what you're doing full time at an intern and a grade level. You can learn it all on the role. We understand uni is your priority. So uni societies or sports teams, working at a supermarket is all relevant information.
Perfect. Thanks, Sam. Great advice again. Dylan, I'll ask you the same question, mate. Anything to add from that? Again, some good advice and tips being thrown around, but anything from your end?
There's a couple. I'm trying to just get my thoughts straight. I mean, it is the same sort of thing. I'm just going to say it in a different way. But I think, so looking at, I guess, CVs separately from anything else, I think the other two have touched on the important thing is that yes, a degree is cool. Yep, a part-time job is cool, an internship is cool, but that's not really, I just think people are more than that. So that's not really the be all and end all. I kind of want to hear about your life and your interests. And I guess because for us on the other side, we're trying to build a picture of who you are, and you're not a degree and you're not a part-time job at the movies. You're a person, and you've got interests, and you've got hobbies, and where you came from and stuff like that. So being able to express that on a cover letter is always pretty helpful. And then I think couple more points, but just take your time, and it is about effort. And I know it sucks because yeah, you're probably doing it, like, we're not stupid, you're probably doing it for a few other places at the same time, but it's really, really obvious. And I guess just touching on that kind of red flag, where like I was doing it 2 years ago, I know what the templates for a cover letter and a CV look like. So when you can kind of see it's a bit of a copy and paste job, that's always a big, that one hurts me, when you just know you're copy and pasting and putting in a different name. And I've had ones even the last couple of weeks where it's addressed to like the wrong person or the wrong place, and it's just like, man, yeah, you might be straight A's, but like you couldn't put in that effort to make sure you're sending the right CV and or cover letter to the right person. So that's a big, that one hurts me a lot when I see that, because it almost offends me personally, which it shouldn't, but it does. So I think just take your time and really enjoy that process of being able to put a snapshot into your life, or give us a piece of paper that sums you up. And man, that's such an important thing. And it's the first step of the process for yourself, but it's the first step of us to be able to get that snapshot of who you are. So put in the time, put in the effort. If it means you have to rejig your CV or your cover letter every single time you apply for a new job, then bloody do it, because it's going to make the world a difference, rather than just, oh man, if I send it out to all these people, one of them is bound to get back to me. I don't think that's what it's about. It's the complete opposite. So if you really align with the values or the company on a personal level, make sure you're putting in that detail and that effort to communicate that with us. I'm a big cover letter person. I don't know why. I think I just enjoy reading or creative writing. So I remember when I wrote mine, I don't even think I touched on anything other than running cable in the mud for my parents when I was 15, because I was like, well, that's my life experience. I haven't done any internships. I haven't done any of this, done any of that. I help my parents out in the weekends and work in the movies part-time. But that's not who I am. This is who I am, because I've had all these cool life experiences and dealing with all these people. And that's what makes me, not a 4-year degree or I got an A in this paper. That's not who you are. So tell us who you are. I'll stop there.
So true though. Like even just proofreading your application before you send it off, your cover letter is so important. Even what I used to do is send it to a few of my uni mates, even my parents. Probably pretty risky business sending it to the parents, but yeah, uni mates, just to give them, to see what they think about it, just to make sure it's all perfect before you send it off. That's it's great advice. Amanda, I might ask you a new question. For students who do land a job at Baker Tilly, for example, what advice would you give them to survive and thrive in that first year, and what should they potentially avoid doing?
Yeah, I'll start with what to avoid doing. Is don't hesitate to ask questions. That's something that we see with all of our recent graduates and interns. When you're first on the scene, you sort of, feel like everyone above you is a little bit intimidating. They've been there for a few years, but they're all there to support you. They're all there to help you learn, help you develop, help you grow. So always ask questions. The saying that there's no such thing as a silly question is extremely true, because as we tell our graduates and interns, if you've got a question, there's no doubt that someone else in the room has exactly the same question. So very important to always ask questions. Something that to help you succeed in your first year, I think, again, keeping an open mind is very important, because you're learning from a whole range of people. You'll be working with different teams depending on what service line you choose. And yeah, there's just a lot of learning coming your way. It's really taking the opportunity, taking that initiative to soak it all in, and then sort of use it to build your career, or build your growth, build your development as you're going. And I think, as the guys said at the beginning, as everyone said, being yourself throughout it all is very important, because there's no point, if you're struggling, put your hand up. If you're finding it really easy, again, put your hand up, because then we know you want to be challenged. We know that you're ready for the next step. So yeah, just being yourself and always ask questions.
There you go. Ask those questions. I remember when I first joined my first job out of uni, I was asking so many questions. I thought I was annoying my manager, but It's like, am I actually annoying you? And they're like, no, it's, you know, we expect it. So don't be shy to ask those questions. Don't feel like you're annoying them, because it helps you learn very quickly. Awesome. Emma, I'll ask you the same question in terms of students who do land a job at KPMG. What advice would you give them to survive and thrive in the first year, and what should they avoid doing?
Yeah, Amanda has actually stolen exactly what I was going to say, but I might just reiterate that definitely, like, literally I was prepping for these questions. I literally wrote ask questions with all these capital letters, with all these exclamation marks, sorry. So definitely we don't expect our grads or interns to know what they're doing or, you know anything. It is a very different environment from going from university to in a corporate firm like ours. So we don't expect you to know everything, and that's one of the biggest things that we definitely look for in our grads and interns, is having that ability to raise your hand and say, hey, I've got absolutely no idea what I'm doing, can I please have some help? And that's fine. Like, don't feel like you can't say that. And the other thing I'd say is definitely use your team and the people around you for support. Lean on everyone. One of the biggest things at KPMG is that it is we're a team, and you're working with teams all the time. So we don't expect you to sort of be sitting at your computer by yourself with no help from others. So definitely take that support and ask questions all the time. And then the other thing that I would say is get involved with as much as you want to. I think starting in a company like any of ours is it is what you make of it. So just if there's clubs or different groups or different initiatives within the firm that you are like, wow, that sounds amazing, I'd be really keen to get involved, do it, because that's going to make your time at the firm more enjoyable, and it's going to make you more passionate about the things that you do every day.
Perfect. Great way to redo the question, or the answer, sorry. Got a lot of questions coming from the students. We'll get those into a minute. Before we do so, Sam, I'll throw it to you as well to ask the same question in terms of advice to help survive and thrive in that first year. What should they avoid doing?
Yeah, of course. So similar to Emma again, definitely be yourself once again, and do ask the questions. Like, it's okay not to know things. And I know, as being part of like a big corporate environment, some people can perceive that as being quite hierarchical, but it's really not. I do really encourage it as like an open door kind of policy. And I know the virtual landscape has provided barriers, some supposed barriers in that way, but you can always like instant message, like someone that you want to talk to, ask, I'm not sure about this, can I clarify? Want to clarify before I kind of go ahead? Can I organize a call? Everyone's really open to that, as long as like you use your initiative, people can see that you're trying. Everyone's there to support you. From day one, you are assigned a mentor, so you do have someone there for you who is just a few years ahead of you. So definitely all there to support you. Any don'ts? Is that one, Taylor? I'd say I'd say just ask the questions rather than assuming would be one of my things. It's always better, even in my own work, if I'm not sure about anything, I will go to my like manager and just be like, hey, I'm not sure about this, what are your thoughts? Rather than like, it's so simple, sometimes you just want to go ahead and do something. So my thing is, especially while you're learning, do take that time and ask the questions. It's better asking the question once and kind of rushing and doing something wrong. That's probably my don't. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, Sam. Dylan, you're still sort of 7 months in, still in that first year. What advice, anything to add to that from your perspective?
Yeah, no, I've got a few things to say. So definitely firstly emphasize everyone's point, and that's just say yes to bloody everything, every opportunity, whether it be social, whether it be work, and just get involved and soak it all up. Because this is, I guess, the moment that it's all been leading to. So just get in there and say, I've been saying yes to bloody everything, whether it be something like this or just, hey, can we go grab a coffee? Hey, meeting as many people as I can and just soaking it all up, saying yes. Another one I'd probably mention is maybe, I don't know if it works for everyone, but just a bit of a mental, I guess, a reset. So I think coming out of university, you've worked bloody hard for 4 years, and that's awesome, and you've achieved something really great. But I also think that it's really important to note that when you get into an organization like one of the ones on this panel is almost, if you can, try and reset the mindset to start again. And I know that's a tough thing to do because it feels like you've just got to the top of the mountain and it's like, well, I don't want to start back down at the bottom. But I think you run into a couple problems when you go into that mindset of, I know it all. I've studied for 4 years. I've got this all sorted. And then, like the others have said, you run into times where it's like, shit, I don't know the answer, and I don't want to ask questions because I'm meant to be this awesome person that knows everything. We don't expect you to be like that, and I definitely found that a bit challenging. Being in lockdown at home, where I was kind of just like, I thought it was expected of me to sit at my desk from 9 to 5 and then not miss an email or not respond to every single call every second of the day. And I just found myself like overwhelmed and just feeling guilty every time I'd leave. And it took someone in my team to kind of just sit me down and be like, bro, relax. You're in lockdown. You've only been here a couple of months. Like, you're doing a good job, but just relax and it'll come. And that's probably the best piece of advice I've been given, and that was about 4 months ago, where it was kind of like, the world's not on your shoulders, no one's going to die, just relax and get through it and have fun when you're doing it. So yeah, those have been my two: say yes and bloody relax.
Yeah, getting outside that comfort zone is a perfect way to grow as well, so 100% agree with that. I've got a good question here from anonymous attendee again. Being an introvert myself, believe it or not, I struggled with like trying to get a job coming out of university, and trying to sell myself being an introvert. And we've got a question here asking for advice from quiet introverts who aren't good at selling themselves. So Emma, I might ask this one to you in terms of advice for those students who are potentially on this call or watching this later who are a bit more introverted and sort of struggle with that, selling themselves aspect.
Sorry, struggling to find the mute button there. Yeah, great question. It is a hard one, and I do sort of sympathize with people. I think in the application process, so obviously that's where you're more putting your written aspects through as opposed to on a call or in person, would be to really try get your passions and your sort of selling points across in that application. I think we were talking about CVs and things before. My tip would be to actually pass your CV to your mum or your dad or someone that you're close to, because they're going to be like, hey, little Johnny, you forgot to put your scholarship in, or you forgot to put that amazing thing that you did. So putting your CV across to someone who is really proud of you is going to be like, oh, you've actually missed out a couple of things. So that would be my advice. And then if you're attending, say, an interview or an assessment day, or you're meeting people in person, I think just take a deep breath. And as much as meeting people from any of our firms can be super daunting, we're all just human beings, and we just want to get to know you. So I guess maybe try step away from all the pressure that you've probably already put on yourself and just take a deep breath and say, hi, I'm Emma and I want to work at Baker Tilly, or, so just say what you want to say. And I think just try, relax, take a deep breath. You've probably seen me, I've been having sips of my water. I might sound super confident, but I'm a little bit nervous as well, so just take a break, take a deep breath, take some water, and just try take away from that pressure. I know that's a hard thing to say in practice, but yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thanks, Emma. And just conscious of the time, if you've got questions that we didn't have time to ask today, feel free to ask them in either the presentations from these employees throughout today, or you can probably hit them up on email or LinkedIn to ask those questions too. But I might just go around the virtual room for a bit of a final word in terms of obviously quite similar employers, KPMG and Deloitte, and then BDO and Baker Tilly. Why should students apply for your organization, and what makes your company unique? Amanda, I'll throw this one to you first.
Oh gosh, I have to go first. No, but thanks, Taylor. And I guess the key point that we want to emphasize is, as much as it is about gaining work experience, you're also still studying along the way to gain your CA qualification, depending on what service line you do choose. So it's really important that you're choosing an environment that's supportive of both, which all of our firms respectively are. But why you should choose Baker Tilly, I guess. It's a really awesome place to work for. I've been here for 10 years. It's quite telling of sort of our work experience and just our culture at our firm. I think the biggest thing is that we work hard, but we play even harder. I think, our team really gets along really well. When we have new graduates and interns, we make a huge effort to make sure that they feel part of the team, even in this virtual environment. We do daily stuff quiz challenges every day. Our partners are in those groups. It gets super competitive. We've got, virtual drinks every couple of weeks, which is just a really good way for everyone to get along and see each other just in a virtual situation, but also from just the quality of experience. So, we're not going to hold you back from day one. You're sent out to client sites because that's really where all the hands-on learning is. And you get to be out on client sites or within as part of the team if you're in the advisory positions, working together as a team to achieve a goal. So I think, just the quality of experience and constant learning is really great at Baker Tilly, and we're a fun bunch of people to work for. So look forward to receiving your applications.
There you go, everyone. Check them out. Sam, I'll hand it to you next. Just 30 seconds if you can. Apologies about the time pressure on this one, but a nice, short, sweet. Why should students apply for Deloitte?
Yeah, why should you apply for Deloitte? As I say, to quote the website, the answer is simple. It's the impact we make. As coming on as an intern and a grad, a lot of people want frequently asked questions like, what's progression like? There's genuine progression here. We do quarterly reviews to ensure everyone is staying on track, but we set goals because we want the best for our employees, and also that kind of one-to-one mentor from day one, and also the opportunities that you can have within the business too, and the opportunities outside your business unit with all our different groups. We have like a Māori group, Pacific Island group, a group for Rainbow community, and lots of sports teams. So there's lots of opportunities to network at the firm outside of your business unit too. So it's a bit about why Deloitte.
Perfect. There you go. Exciting. Emma, I'll throw it to you next. A bit of a hard and fast. Why should students apply for KPMG?
Yeah, I'm happy to keep it super short. I was just going to say, join KPMG to help our goal of fueling the prosperity of all of Aotearoa.
How good, short and sweet, but to the point. Thanks, Emma.
No worries.
Last but not least, Dylan, over to you, mate.
No, this has worked out nice because I didn't know what to say. So, and not because we don't have a whole lot of awesome, unique selling propositions or anything like that. I just don't know if there is one reason that would make every single one want to join BDO. I'm sure you'll find it in yourself, or you won't throughout the process. So I think that's kind of my main point is I think you'll know if this is for you and where you want to be, and if not, then no hard feelings. So if it's meant to be, I think it'll be. So hopefully that can take some of the pressure away. But yeah, that's really it. I don't have anything.
No, that's awesome, mate. Nice and simple too. Awesome. Oh well, that's a bit of a wrap for the panel session. Huge shout out to Amanda, Sam, Emma, and Dylan for their awesome insights. I got a lot out of it, so I'm sure the students got a lot out of it too. So yeah, huge thanks to everyone for joining on the panel session.
Cool.
Thanks, Taylor.
Cheers, dude.
No worries.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No worries. And Sam, you're up next. Sam and Nathan, everyone for that's on now. We'll be hearing directly from Sam and Nathan at Deloitte for a 18-minute presentation. So I think Wilfred's online to do some of his magic in terms of promoting Nathan. But yeah, cheers to the rest of the panelists. Hope you have a great day.
Thanks.
Yeah,
See you
nice
guys.
to meet you guys as
Thanks,
well. Have a good
guys.
one.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
See you later.
Bye.